Welcome back to another episode of Way Too Wifey. I'm your host, respectfully Gabby, and in this podcast we talk all things dating and relationships in this modern day. If you are new here, hi, I'm Gabby. I'm an online dating coach where I help you transform your confidence to live your best lives inside and outside of relationships. Basically, if you're like, what the fuck does a dating coach do? Because I've been getting that a lot lately, and it's like more so, I feel like people that aren't really from America. So let me explain. I help you build your confidence to know where to date people, figure out what you're doing wrong. If you're constantly attracting the same kind of people, constantly in a situationship, not sure how to get to that next level, these are things that I help you with. I help you with your self-worth more than anything. That I think is the foundation of being happy inside and outside of a relationship. So if that's something that you struggle with, please hit the link in my bio. I offer one-on-one sessions that are just one-off sessions. If you're like, hey, I'm not sure about this, let's meet one-on-one. I do 30 minutes or an hour. I also do an 8-week transformation program where I have helped so many people come out of this 8-week program a completely different person, and it actually shocks me sometimes. Hit that link in my bio to book a discovery call with me, and I will talk all things that you would be expecting in this 8 weeks. I also do, if you're like, Gabby, I don't really want to talk to you, I just want to write in, I have a write-in option too, and it's super cheap, super affordable. So if you are interested, again, hit that motherfucking link. Anyway, let's get into it, guys. I want to say that this is going to be a very vulnerable episode for me because as a dating coach, I feel like I have to walk and talk the things that I say, right? You know, I mostly do. I still think that there are some things in me that do get brought up that I'm still working through myself, and I know better, right? I know how to get myself back to being myself, but there's some things that I struggle with. No one's perfect. We're all learning, we're all growing, and although you might be on a great streak, there are some things that may set you back a couple notches, and it's all about how you pivot and move forward. And I'm not perfect. I get that. No one is, but it's really what it comes down to is the self-awareness to know, like, hey, I'm doing this thing again, that it's the pattern that's coming up again, and I want to fix it, snap out of it, remember who the fuck I am, and then move forward from there. And then that next person that does come along or whatever, you're going to be that much better because you're like, I'm not slipping into this again. I'm more aware of it. And I didn't realize that it's something that's still happening, but we all fall into patterns, I think is what it comes down to. Is like, you may be feeling like, oh my God, I'm so healed, I'm doing well, I'm doing great. And it's because you came out of like a toxic situationship or relationship, whatever. And then you feel like yourself again. And then the next person that you meet, you fall into the same pattern. So it's like, you have to know that whenever you do meet that next person, or you do get back into a relationship with someone that from your past, that you are going to stand your ground, remain to be that bitch, and know how to maneuver this situation is really what it comes down to. And I'm not going to lie and say that I'm perfect in this and I know everything and I know what I'm doing. I do know what I'm doing, but I think that it's the art of continuing to practice that self-awareness, that self-confidence, that self-respect, remembering who the fuck you are at all times and not letting anyone else dim your light. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story time here. And really this episode, I kind of went around a long loop to say this, but this episode, if he wanted to, he would. And I wanted to get into this because really, I think a lot of people have mixed opinions on this, and I don't really understand why, because I think that there's a lot of people nowadays that are like, well, like making excuses for him, or like, well, like, you know, he wanted to, but he couldn't. And he wanted to, but he didn't know how to. But here's like, at the end of the day, what it comes down to, if that man wanted to, really wanted to, and really wanted you, he would fucking build a bridge. He would go to the end of the fucking earth to make it happen for you. And as a woman, you want to find out if a guy really likes you, sit the fuck back and let him operate. Watch him do what he wants to do. He will show you what he would rather do. I think a lot of times we sit back and we're like, okay, well, like maybe I'll just make it a little bit easier for him to let him know that I really like him, or maybe I can show him, and then the more that I'm showing him, the more he's going to open up. But really, men do not operate like that. Again, going back to my last episode of like, you are the prize, and this kind of plays into this, is like knowing that I am who I am. And if you see it, you're going to want to put in that effort. I'm not going to have to do fucking anything because I know that I am the prize. If you watched my last episode, I recently went to London. I had met this guy on Hinge a couple weeks prior, started talking for a little bit, and like almost every day. Should not have put all my eggs in one basket. Got that. Noted. Moving forward, not going to be doing that. Because honestly, the right guy, even if you are dating other guys, the right guy is going to be like, oh, she has options. Like, let me shut these other options down because I am that guy for her. And he will make that noted. Meet this guy. We go to Soho House in London, and I'm not sure which location, so don't ask because I don't know my way around yet. But I'm kind of planning, if everything works out well, to go back in a couple of weeks and stay for an extended period of time. I really loved it. Honestly, it's so my vibe, but we'll see. I really just want to kind of do this for myself. I've always kind of wanted to do this, but I feel like I've come to these realizations that like I've been so scared to make this leap of like just doing something that I want to do. You know, what's in America? Like, I feel like there's like nothing here anymore. For me, I'm like kind of over it. I just want like a completely fresh new start. And honestly, leaving London, I was in that plane ride home, I was feeling like really fucking depressed, not okay. I'm like, this sucks. Like, I don't want to be going back home. Like, this is not where I want to be. But anyway, back to the story. A couple of things I didn't like. And I really, when you first meet someone, this is really how it should be. When you first meet someone, you don't like them, okay? You have no feelings for this person. That's how we get attached. This, as soon as you're like, oh my God, I really like this person, I'm putting him on a pedestal, this is my person, that's when you get fucked. You're fucking yourself over. The first time you guys meet up, you don't like this person, okay? You're not investing any feelings whatsoever. This is all about taking notes on this person. Okay, does he value the same things that I value? Does he want the same things that I want? Did we have a good time? Did I feel safe? Did my body react in any type of way? Did I feel nervous around this person? Because these things are indications of which way you want to go moving forward. Does this person even deserve a second date? Sometimes I'll go on dates and I'm like, that was really fun. It was fun because I'm fucking fun. I had a fantastic time because I'm a great time. And not because that I could really see a future with this person, but these are things that you have to like understand. Did he put in effort? Did he show that he cared and that he actually wanted something with you? I have post-date questions that you need to be asking, and this is like some things that I work with in coaching that you need to be asking yourself after the date of how you feel. Do a check-in with yourself and really listen to your intuition. Sometimes we're like, no, he's my one, like, because he looks good on paper. And instead of actually being like, you know what, yes, he looks good on paper, but he didn't really treat me that great. Or like, he didn't really care that if I was there or not. And like, honestly, on this date, we had a good time. I had a great time. When do I not have a good time though? We had a great time, but I don't know. I just kind of feel like he wasn't like all into it. He was talking about like exes, and that's like a no-no for me. You know, it just kind of felt like he was just doing this because we had been talking for the past 3 weeks. I still had a good time. I love going on dates in different cities. If you know, you know. I've talked about this many times, but that's like kind of my thing. And people are like, oh, you want to get a free meal, whatever. I don't care about that stuff. Like, I can go take myself. I went with my friends. I could have just enjoyed a drink with my friends. Like, we just really went for drinks. No, I like going on dates in different cities because you kind of hang with the locals. They give you recommendations. The sense of like falling in love in a new city, just like or having like this romance in a new city is like really fun for me. Even if it doesn't go anywhere, you know what I mean? He did meet up with my friends the day after. So I'm like, okay, he's showing a little bit of effort. After he left, I got such a weird feeling. Okay, so I walked him out to say like goodbye because he had to go. He had an appointment. He just like stopped by. When I was walking him out, the words that he said to me and when he was looking me in the face, I'm like, I can't talk to this guy. Like, this guy has no intentions for me at all. I was like, am I going to see you later? And then he says to me, why don't you like hang with your friends? Like, you came here for a short period of time, whatever. And I'm like, damn, if he really wanted to see me, he would fucking see me. Like, I feel like I've been pouring this entire trip to try to see him when I could really just be hanging out with my friends who I came here with that are like a good time and whatever. I'm like, damn, I really invested this piece of time. Now I know at least, but never like, so like, oh, we have to make this happen. We have to make this happen. But at the same time, I only had a short period of time and we had been talking for the 3 weeks. So I'm like, okay, well, I obviously want to see him. He obviously is welcome around my friends. My friends all liked him. But the thing is, like, if you're not into it, you're not into it, and that's fine. But the last thing I want to do is pour all of my energy into somewhere where it's not being reciprocated. And it just hit me. I'm like, I just fell back into the circle of like pouring way too much of myself. Really, the whole reason why I made this podcast of being way too wifey for guys that don't deserve it, it just like clicked in my head. I'm like, damn, I just fell back into that pattern. But it's really all about how you move forward. And like for the like a day or two, I was just like left feeling like kind of embarrassed by it. And then I snapped out of it. I'm like, Gabby, you are that bitch. Like, this guy clearly is not ready. Like, he's given you every single sign that he's not ready at this moment. And do not take that and think that there's anything wrong with you because you were excited, you wanted to see him. There's nothing wrong with that. It's all about how you move forward. Taking back all of my energy from the situation. If he wants to make an effort to see me moving forward, that's on him. Because if he wanted to, he motherfucking would. I hate more than anything when people are like, well, you know, like if he wanted to, he really wanted to, sometimes he can't, or like sometimes it's whatever. And especially in the beginning, it's like people will show up for you how they feel about you. People are going to, in the beginning, if they are interested, they are going to pursue. If they're unable to pursue, or if they're scared, or if they're not ready for you, that is not an indication that you have to try a little bit harder. That's not an indication that he may want to. However, if he's not ready, stop making excuses for him. If he wanted to and he was ready to, he would pour into you. However, if he's not ready, do not wait around for someone who's not ready. There are so many other options available to you. And remember that you are the prize. That's what it comes down to. You are not going to settle for anything and pour yourself into places where it is not appreciated and reciprocal. And yes, again, maybe he really wanted to, but he couldn't find a way. Any guy that really wants you is going to find a way. I'm just saying, and there's going to be guys that are like, well, you know, sometimes we want to, but we can't. I fucking don't care, because there are other ways that you can show up to prove that you do care. If he was so serious about you, if he was, okay, like, I need to pursue that, this is my person, let that man be sure, because the last thing you want to do is try to convince him of your worth and then slowly wedge your way into his heart and then feel like you're that girl down the line that has to give him an ultimatum because he was never sure about you to begin with. Don't let yourself be that person. I was watching on the way home, he's just on that into, and it was like such a fucking slap in the face reminder. I'm over here like dabbling my tears and my best friend's like, what the fuck, are you okay? It was a learning lesson, if anything, and I am going to take that as, you know, your worth now. Like, and I, on the plane, made a promise to myself that I will never, ever pour into any, like, I am going to take the back seat in any situation now. And if you want to pursue me, if you want to come up to me, I don't mind approaching guys in the beginning, but like, then the ball's in your court. Take it from there. You clearly know that I am interested. And I think that a lot of guys are like, well, like sometimes when girls like fall back, we don't know whether or not they're interested. And then we also don't know, like, if they're not showing any interest at all, then we won't pursue. But it's like, I think as a woman, yes, let him know that you are interested, but it's up to him to take the bait. It's up to him to take it to the next level and lead you in the right direction. The last thing I want to do, and honestly, this is a promise to myself, is to pour into anywhere where it's not appreciated. I will never again, and I mean this because I'm saying this on my podcast, as a promise to myself that I'm not going to pursue more than I'm being pursued. Yes, I will let them know that I am interested in other ways, but it really puts me in the masculine energy of like chasing rather than being like letting things come to me and receiving and allowing that energy to come to me, because the last thing I want to do is to attract a feminine boy that doesn't know how to lead me in a situation. And basically what I'm saying is step it the fuck up and maybe you'll have a chance. I wanted to give like some examples of like he wanted to, he would, because my friends after the guy left, my friends, I sat down and we were kind of talking about it and they were like, Gabby, he's a great guy, but he's like, it doesn't seem like he's like ready for like you. If he really was so serious about it, he would have accommodated you in like the city that we have no idea, that we've never been before, in some way, or like planned something, or like, you know, went out of his way to like make my life easier in some type of way. My type, and I've said this before, my type is someone who's going to make my life easier, someone who's going to want to make me happy, and someone that makes me like laugh and just have a good time. I don't want to feel like I'm stressed out all the time. You know what I mean? Example, one of my girlfriends that was sitting down, she's like, when we went to Toronto, one of the guys that she was talking to he lived in Toronto, and one of the guys that she was talking to, he made reservations for just her and her friends. He sent a bottle to the table of champagne or whatever, gave her recommendations throughout the night, like, hey, you want to go here? He wasn't even there. He literally just made her life easier. Showed up the sense that like, hey, I'm serious about you. I want you to have a good time. I want you to enjoy your friends. Even though I'm not there, I want to show that I care. Putting things into perspective here. Like, why am I settling for like someone who isn't even sure about me? On top of that, one of my other girlfriends I had been staying with in South Florida before I flew out to London. We were talking and she's like recently been seeing this guy. He is absolutely a fucking angel to her. He checks every single box on paper and off paper. Like, he is just like a fantastic guy. He's cute, doing really well for himself. He treats her like gold. She's never been a pursuer ever. And she was like, damn, like maybe, you know, I'm getting to that age, like maybe I'm gonna give up, whatever. And then she met this guy out with like mutual friends. They had a good night. It was like a really good vibe, whatever. And he left. He doesn't live in South Florida. He lives in a different state. Gave her the number, whatever, and she blocked his number. And I'm like, why did you block his number? Like, what are we doing here? She's like, I don't know. I just feel like he wasn't like really serious, whatever. She blocked his number. This man went out of his way to reach out to one of her friends to tell the friend to unblock him. Has been pursuing her since. This man has sent her flowers. He's done the fucking most. He bought her a surprise plane ticket to one of her favorite, she likes the Jets. He bought her a plane ticket to New York to go watch the Jets front row. He has done the absolute most for her, and this is just like smaller things, but he's really gone out of his way in other senses to make it known that he fucking cares and that he's going to show up for her, and that if he wanted to, he would, and he does. That's what I'm looking for. That's the energy that I need. I am not in a chasing vibe anymore. I'm stepping out of that. And moving forward, I just like want to be pursued. I want to be known that I want it to be known that you want me and that I am the fucking prize. And I think a lot of times we say that we want these things. We say that, okay, like, yeah, this is what I want. But it's not until you fully believe internally that that's what you deserve that that's going to show up for you. These are things that I work with my clients with, and it's all about shifting that mindset, shifting that encoding of what we've learned from growing up from a child. Like, these are things that we have to unlearn that we have carried with us for so long. If on paper you're like, yes, I do want this, this is what I'm looking for, but internally it's not translating, it's going to cause some conflicts. But that is what I help with. So if you're interested, I want to work with you. I have done this with myself, and yes, there are going to be times where you step out of that and you're like, you forget who the fuck you are. But it's all about getting back on the horse and really making things happen for you and understanding that like, no, I'm not falling back into these old patterns. I'm choosing now to move forward and knowing that I am who I am and confidently saying that and believing that. But that is it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you could please hit that 5-star rating, turn on your bell notification so you'll never miss another episode. And if you could please hit that like, subscribe, and I will see you all next Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I feel like I wasn't sure if I wanted to tell my story here because I feel like sometimes as a dating coach, you're like expected to have it all together and all figured out. But there are times where you're like, how do I navigate the situation? Or damn, I'm falling back into my old patterns. You're never going to have everything figured out. And that's just what it is. But that doesn't mean that moving forward, you don't know what to do or you can't just get back on track and figure it out from there. That is it. And I will talk to you all